Hello, welcome to your own channel Curious Corners in Biology, where we make this subject of biology more interesting, more promising, and invoke the scientific aspect of this subject by discussing the questions which stem by reading literature of this subject from every nook and corner of the subject. So, as usual, today we will be continuing with animal physiology questions. I have few questions in animal physiology, especially digestive physiology, and we will be continuing with that. So you will be seeing my screen. Hope my screen is visible. So the first question in my mind is how does python generate heat by incubating its eggs? Python is a reptile. We know first of all, reptiles are cold-blooded animals. That means they are not able to maintain a constant stable body temperature. Their body temperature would vary or fluctuate with respect to the environment. So, python has to incubate eggs for the eggs to hatch and the newborns to come alive. So, how does this python achieve this process of incubation? Incubation simply means that heat should be generated slowly and steadily. So what Python does is it coils around tightly around the bunch of its eggs, and this is also called as nest of eggs. Now when it coils around the eggs, it starts its longitudinal muscles to contract, and when longitudinal muscles contract, shivering happens, and when shivering happens, heat is generated. This is also called as shivering thermogenesis. So by this process, Python generates heat. Now, it is not possible for the Python to remain coiled and generate heat by muscle contraction 24 into 7. Even if the Python leaves the nuzzled eggs, it will be usually leaving the eggs basking in the sun. That means exposed to sunlight. So, of course, sunlight also plays a role in increasing the temperature required for incubating the eggs. So it's very interesting to understand that shivering thermogenesis, muscle contraction of python coils, is what is responsible for generating heat in its body and transferring heat per contraction to the eggs so that they can be incubated. Okay. So here this diagram shows that how python is coiling around its cluster of eggs. You can see this graph on x-axis showing contractions per minute. And of course, when muscle contracts, oxygen is also consumed. So the oxygen consumption is increasing and the corresponding increase of muscle contraction is also observed, thereby generating heat. Okay. The next question which comes to our mind is what features of a mammalian digestive system makes it attractive or conducive for mutualistic microorganisms? Now, what do we mean by mutualistic microorganisms? The normal flora of our gut, or you can say alimentary canal. So, of course, normal flora is able to reside in human gut because there are certain conditions provided by alimentary canal which are conducive, which are helpful and supportive for the normal flora, for the bunch of microorganisms present in the gut to survive and thrive. Like there is acidic pH in stomach, so no other microorganism can enter and be a part of normal flora very easily. Okay. Then, of course, there are other microorganisms which have mutualistic associations, and if there is some microorganism except the microorganisms present in human gut, it can be destroyed because there is a possibility that it cannot integrate or be in a mutualistic association with the normal flora. What does normal flora include? Normal flora includes microorganisms like lactobacillus, streptococcus species, clostridium species, bifidobacterium. Then we have Klebsiella species. There are n number of species. Also, there is a role of saliva that microorganisms from outside cannot enter easily and become a part of normal flora. So, whatever microorganisms are part of normal flora will only thrive and survive. And of course, we know that this normal flora or the gut flora or the gut microbiome has many functions. They will help in absorption of nutrients, they will help in enzyme action, they will also prevent allergies and toxicity. There are many beneficial effects. Okay. Then let us talk about lactose intolerance. And is consumption of yogurt beneficial to get rid of lactose intolerance? Now, first of all, what is lactose intolerance? Lactose, we know, is a disaccharide. It is made up of glucose and galactose. Now, lactose is usually broken down in our digestive system by the enzyme lactase. And when this enzyme is deficient, lactose cannot be broken down. And when it is not broken down, it builds up to harmful levels, and this is called as lactose intolerance. Now, this can cause symptoms like bloating, diarrhea, even cramps in the muscles of the alimentary canal. So, person usually feels uncomfortable. There is also a possibility of irritable bowels which are seen when person has this condition of lactose intolerance. Now, here the question says that if a person having lactose intolerance consumes yogurt, then is lactose intolerance treated naturally by supplementation of a probiotic like yogurt? Now, what does yogurt have? Yogurt does have lactobacillus species. It also has streptococcus lactis. So, yogurt has this enzyme lactase to break down lactose. But then this is not the answer for curing lactose intolerance, because the microbes which are present in yogurt usually will not become part of the normal flora of the human intestine. Just as we have recently discussed that consumption of yogurt would simply kill microbes before even they reach the small intestine. So, yogurt consumption is not a solution for lactose intolerance, and it doesn't cure lactose intolerance, because the microbes will not be able to simply reach the small intestine, establish themselves, and thrive in presence of the normal flora of the gut. Then, let us talk about an interesting question related to rennin. That rennin is no more required in adults for digesting milk protein. Why is it so? Now we should know that rennin is an enzyme which is usually found in infants up to 8 years of age. It is also found in ruminants, cow and cattle. Okay. And usually this enzyme is found in the abomesum, that is the fourth stomach of ruminants. So, of course, rennin is allotted with the function of coagulation of milk in infants. What do you mean by coagulation of milk? The milk protein casinogen is made or converted to insoluble calcium paracaseinate. Now, when this soluble milk protein is converted into its insoluble form, the milk is going to curdle. That is, it is going to coagulate. So, when it is going to coagulate, it is sort of achieving a semi-solid form. Now, enzymes will get more time to act upon this milk. Of course, rennin will get more time to act upon this milk. That is why rennin is present in high quantity in infants, because, of course, a huge proportion of diet of infants is constituted by milk. Infants require milk. And if rennin is not present in sufficient quantity, then milk will simply trickle down through the gut without being digested. The problem is milk will simply flow down the gut without being digested because renin is not acting. The milk is not slowed down in the gut. So if milk is not slowed down, if it is trickling very fast, then it will not be digested. So there should be some mechanism for curdling the milk or semi-hardening the milk for giving an opportunity to enzymes, proteolytic enzymes, to act upon milk and digest it. That is why renin is present. And of course, curdling of milk takes place also in ruminants. So ruminants, like all the cattle, would have renin in their fourth stomach. But then renin is not seen in adults. Why? Because of course, milk is not the main diet of adults. Adults consume milk in very less quantity, and enzyme pepsin takes over the role of renin. Enzyme pepsin is also a proteolytic enzyme, and that digests the quantity of milk which is ingested by adults. And there are, of course, other enzymes, proteolytic enzymes in intestine as well. Because, and the other reason is that infants also do not have all the full spectrum of enzymes. Their digestive system is immature. That is why renin is required in large quantity specifically. Okay. So that's all for today. And please subscribe to my channel if you are interested in such discussion. We will be slowly and steadily moving on to other topics as well, discussing many interesting questions in biology. And you can find the link to my book, Curious Corners in Biology, that's available at Amazon. This book is only available in Kindle format, so you have to download the Kindle app in order to read the book. This book is supported through Kindle app. Okay. So please hit the bell icon, subscribe to my channel, and we will be discussing more questions very soon. Till then, see you. Bye. Thank you.